All right, thank you. So I'm going to take this out. So this story is about my evolution of what broke means. As a college kid, I think there's fun broke, and we think of fun broke being like, when I was in college, I would work my way through college through working for a moving company. So, I'd make all this money, and by September, I'd be back at college, and that money would hopefully last me till May, and usually lasted me until April, and then we'd spend the last couple weeks living on refried beans and rice and Raymond Pride, and we just said, yeah, this is the life. We're living broke. We're in college. We're living broke, and that's kind of like a fun broke, the kind of broke you look stoically back on. And then there's a different kind of broke where I experienced one night in that me and a friend went down to see the legendary punk rock band Black Flag in Philadelphia. My friend Joey Flynn and I. We both lived out here in Delaware County. I was home from college, and we went down to Broad and South, parked in a parking lot. These two Pakistani gentlemen assured me that I should give them the keys at this parking lot and that they would be there when we came out of the concert. So I did so, and we went in, and Henry Rollins came out. He hadn't shaved his head yet. He had a tattoo of a sundial on his back. I thought he was going to beat the crap out of everyone in that audience. It was like the wildest punk rock show I had been to, and it was awesome. And we came out at 2:30 in the morning, sweaty, totally exhausted, and we turned the corner, and there's the AMC Pacer that we drove. But there's no Pakistani men, and they have my car keys at 2:30 in the morning, and I only have like $5 in my pocket. So what do? I find a payphone back in the time, no cell phones, and it's not a pleasant call when you're calling your parents at 2:30 in the morning, and my dad answered the phone, and I said, Dad, we came out of the show and I don't have the keys to the car. I need someone to come pick me up. And I heard the F-bomb drop several times in those next few moments. I had woken him out of a deep sleep. And he's like, I'm not coming to pick you up. Get yourself a taxi. So me and Flinny start figuring out how we're going to get a taxi with like about $10 in change in our pockets. Back to Delaware County. Joey lived in Seacane. And of course the first 3 or 4 cabs we try to explain to these people, look, we're going, we need a ride all the way out into the sticks, and these guys weren't interested in driving out at 2:30 in the morning out to Delaware County. Finally we found someone, like the 4th cab. We didn't explain that we had no money. But we drove out, dropped Joey off at his house in Seacane. He ran in, brought me an extra $10 or whatever he had. We drive all the way out. It's like 3:30 in the morning. I go and my mother, who is sitting over here, was gracious enough to get money out of her purse so I could pay this taxi driver the rest of the $50 plus a tip to drive me home at 3:30 in the morning. And it was not a pleasant ride the next morning when my father, with a second set of keys, had to drive me down to Broad and South to pick up this AMC crap car Pacer. He was not pleased about this. So those were my 2 versions of broke. And what I realized is that is kind of a fun memory of being broke too. But it took a trip to Beijing to realize that there's a difference between broke and poverty. And I went to Beijing to visit my sister who worked in the Peace Corps for 2 years, and we had a great time. And my sister understood Chinese, she could speak Chinese, and we would go to the Banjian market, we would go to the different markets, and obviously when you're in Chinese, you do as the Chinese do, you haggle. And it's fun to do, and you're getting, especially when the Nike swoosh is backwards, you can haggle a little more there and get a better price. Or tube socks and all that stuff. And these markets were fun. I bought some artwork, all this stuff that was great. We got towards the end of the trip, and I was there in January, so it was bitterly cold. And we decided I wanted to get some T-shirts for my boys. And it's dusk, and we're at this sidewalk, and it's really kind of dark. There's only a couple lights. And, we'd been haggling and having fun, and my sister was laughing with these vendors, and it just seemed like all fun. And so I'm haggling with this woman about T-shirts for my boys, and like she wanted like $4 a piece for these T-shirts, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh well, let's try to get her down to $3.75 or something, and then this young girl turns around and I can see her face is like frostbitten when she like comes in the light, and it just made me nauseous, not by the fact that she was frostbitten, but by the fact I was trying to nix her down another 25 cents when I easily, and could afford it. I wasn't broke. And I probably could have handled it better and just said, here, I'm gonna give you $5 for a t-shirt. But it just caught me by such surprise and just totally, I was kind of bewildered at myself and what I had been, this idea of haggling over there, that I just had to say to my sister, let's go back to the hotel room. And then we went out and got T-shirts the next day. And that really drove home to me the difference between the kind of joking broke that we all, we like to joke about in college days or those types of things, and what, people live with every day in many, many parts of the world. So that's my story about broke. Thanks.